Welcome to your daily focus for January the 21st, 2016. My name is Tilly and welcome to Tarot with Tilly. And before we get to the energy of the day, thank you. Thank you so much for all the support you give me each and every day. Truly, you guys rock. So thank you very much for all the support. So now let's get to the energy of the day. Let's get to the cards. And we start with the Four of Swords. Okay, now the Four of Swords is traditionally the warrior, the soldier that has come off the battlefield. They hang up their weapons, they take off their armor, and they lay down to rest, recharge their batteries. Now we have the white rose and the red rose on top. So it's partially we are getting ready for new beginnings, and partially we are raising up our courage, our strength to push forward again. Pay attention to your intuition today, your gut today, because we have that large bird overhead bringing us messages. So God, your angels, your spirit guides, the universe will be talking to you today in your hours of rest. So a beautiful day for meditation, a beautiful day for prayer. It's also a warning that if you try and push it today, you could end up flat on your back with a cold or a flu or a sickness of some sort. Or maybe just overexhausted, tired. And we can't do anything when we're tired, can we? So we need to rest. We need to recuperate. So if your body says stop, stop today. Take a breather. Meditate, pray. Just sit by yourself. Go inside. Turn off, as I said in almost every weekly, turn off the TV, turn off the computer, turn off the phone, close the door, and sit by yourself with your thoughts. Allow things to come to you. Now, the next card we have is the Page of Wands. I love the Page of Wands because the Page of Wands doesn't even realize there is a box, much less thinking outside of it. And look at the red, just like that flower, just like that rose. So we are pushing our thoughts to the horizon. We are pushing our thoughts on what is feasible to do, what is not feasible to do. Now, I will say with the Seven of Cups is right next to it, and this can mean we're all over the place. So we could be all over the place with our thoughts. So definitely discipline is in order when you are trying to think of something, to stay on topic with yourself, to not flit or flutter and flutter to one area and then another area and then another area, not really attacking any of your thoughts and working them out and seeing them through and growing them beyond. Now, it could also mean with the Page of Wands and the Seven of Cups together is we see the larger picture. We see all the different avenues we can go. We see all the different steps we can take. And so we want to bring in a balance. We want to bring in an understanding of how to make the right step forward. What is the right next forward? So it could be a little bit of yesterday's energy where we are thinking about what is the right next step for us. And we have 5, vision and diplomacy. So 5 is the adventurer. So we should be feeling adventurous today. We should be, even though we have the Four of Swords is your very first card here, where it's demanding that you rest when you need to rest, to meditate, to pray. 5 is the adventurer. So we should feel alive. We should feel like we can accomplish everything. And that might be what the Seven of Cups is too, that we might just be trying to do everything today. So take a step back, one thing at a time. Have the vision on what you truly want to accomplish first, do first, say first, and have the vision to see what the next step will be thereafter. We have a vision towards our future right now. And so we have to use a little bit of diplomacy. We have to use a little bit of grounding ourselves. I mean, with the Seven of Cups, we could be all over the place. And we don't want to turn our thoughts into fantasy. We want to turn them into reality. So we need the diplomacy. We need to ask ourselves if that's a true picture. So I think we are definitely going further. I think it's an extension of yesterday, but now we are looking outside of ourselves and we're looking at our path. We're looking at what we can do. I would even say we're probably getting some things done with the energy of this card, the adventurer, because we just can't leave it to thought. We've got to do as well when we have the adventure inside of us. We have the feeling of restlessness comes about. So it's a beautiful day probably for creativity. It's a beautiful day probably to get together with people and talk about vision, especially if you are a team player within a group. And as a group, collectively, you are trying to figure out the next step for your group. This is a beautiful day to use this energy and to push yourself forward to the next level, to the next step. Just remember to rest when you need to rest today. When you start to feel tired, take a step back. Don't try and get too much done as the Seven of Cups. Okay? We don't want to be scattered today. We want to be very focused. We want to have the vision, and then we want to apply ourselves properly today. We don't want to be all over the board. And I think we can be because it's a very restless, adventurous energy that we are surrounded with today. But the Page of Wands, being in the center of it all, says that we will be able to see bigger and better and brighter, that we will have more of a self-confidence, that we can see ourselves in the conversations and how they play out. We can see ourselves in the situations and how they'll play out. And it'll give us our strength, it'll give us our empowerment, it will give us our self-confidence going into the future. And until we meet again, remember, I do love you.